Golden Sense was Intimicious' best son at the racetrack. I think Golden Sense has a real chance to produce a classic distance horse. They've got a ton of heart. They're very competitive. They've got athleticism. They've got speed. The Golden Sense just have that it factor. They look like the good Intimicious.
Everybody else chasing Mr. Money.
By my standards, has won the New Orleans Classic.
I think he's got a big future.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Spendthrift Farm. I'm Dan Illman, along with Nicole Russo, and let's take a look at the field for Sunday's Spa Baby race. We'll kick off the 20-cent Empire 6 with race number 5, going 5.5 furlongs on the Melon Turf course. Spendthrift Farm, represented by the number 5 Hilliard, by their stallion Temple City, and they are waiting in the wings in case this race is washed off the turf. Both main track only entrants, Cousteau and Spicy Marge, are by Spendthrift Super Stallion Into Mischief. Nicole, there are some lovely pedigrees in this race.
Oh, absolutely. I think we see a wide variety of stallions represented, including freshman stallions, both here in the U.S. and from overseas. We see a lot of pedigrees where I really think the horses will thrive going longer. This could be a key race as they start coming across those opportunities later in the meet and later in the season. I think it's a really interesting and wide open race.
Well, experience counts in these 2-year-old races, and the number 1, Maddie, has already raced twice in her career on dirt, and she is arguably the horse to catch and beat in Sunday's Spa Baby race, a $150,000 yearling by Grand Slam winner American Pharoah, who has done so well with his turf runners. There's turf in this pedigree, and there's plenty of Phipps level class.
Yeah, definitely going all the way back to the Phipps champion Heavenly Prize. There's a lot of turf ability at a mile, which adds some speed to the family closer up in the female family. You mentioned how well American Pharoah has done on the turf. And for that reason, I'm very interested in this filly as she moves from the dirt to the turf. She's been narrowly beaten in her 2 outings, including a loss on debut to Hopeful Princess, who came back to run well in the Schuylerville here on opening day. She has the experience, which makes me less worried about her being drawn down inside. That said, she did break a little slowly last time out, and she's really going to have to come out firing here, I think.
The number 2 is Out a Door, and Out a Door is a colt who has a really nice pedigree. First-time starters with Wesley Ward, you always have to respect them. Out a Door is a half to Piedi Bianchi, a very versatile runner on the dirt, a half to Mind Reader, a stakes winner on the turf, and these outworks seem to be selling very, very nicely.
They are, and Outwork is one of the first sons of juvenile champion and leading freshman sire Uncle Mo to come to stud himself. We've seen with Uncle Mo that, you know, his runners really just run on anything. They're just athletes. So I do think his sons will follow in that mold. So I do think Outwork can get a turf runner or two. Outwork remembered for winning the Wood Memorial, but he was a good 2-year-old, won his debut going 4.5 furlongs at Keeneland that April.
Tremendous pedigree on the number 3, American Gentleman, a first-time starter by American Pharoah out of a half-sister to Cigar Mile winner Connect. This is a $240,000 yearling. Maybe this colt might want a little bit more distance, but you can't argue with the class in this pedigree.
Oh, absolutely. One of the lovely pedigrees in this race. We've already mentioned American Pharoah's success with his turf runners. So no wonder they're just going straight to turf with this one, even though there's maybe more dirt in this female family. You mentioned Connect and some others. I'll be interested to see where this one ultimately wants to land.
Ray Handel's a very good trainer. We do have a formulator fact to discuss. Over the past 3 years, 2-year-olds on turf, only 1 for 29, $1.07 ROI. It's limited data, and I wouldn't talk anyone off American Gentleman just because of this formulator fact, if American Gentleman is a fair price on the tote. The number 4 is My Sea Cottage by first crop styer Chalat, who stands in France, and boy, he was a very fast and capable 2-year-old.
Yeah, he had an outstanding season as a 2-year-old, won 5 of his 6 starts that year, including Group 1 victories in the Middle Park and the Pre-Morny. These are his first 2-year-olds, as you mentioned. He has 3 winners to date, which is about as many as any of them have at this point of the year, so he's doing just fine. He's got 1 juvenile, Sequoia, who was 3rd in the Coventry Stakes at the renowned Royal Ascot meeting. My Sea Cottage ran, okay in the debut on dirt, kind of probably just taking the experience with the opportunity that was available, should move forward here moving to turf.
I agree 100%. I think this horse gained a lot of fitness from his career debut on dirt, but just looking at this pedigree, this is all turf. And you mentioned the sire and the grandsire, lots of speed there. My Sea Cottage should run well second time out for trainer Mark Cassey. The number 5, Hilliard, is by Spendthrift Stallion Temple City. And this is a half-brother to Swamp Rat, multiple stakes placed on the turf and an early 2-year-old. The second dam, Kimchi, was a very solid multiple stakes winner going long on the dirt. And the Temple City Smart Strike breeding, Nick, has produced Valedictorian, a pretty speedy middle distance runner on the grass. Nice pedigree. I wonder if maybe this one needs a race.
I would tend to agree. Hilliard, the namesake of owner and breeder Brian Hilliard, probably well met here, but I do like the Temple Cities going a little bit longer. That said, it's the extended family of an outstanding sprinter in Mind Your Biscuits. The half Swamp Rat, who you mentioned, was second in the Skidmore right here at Saratoga as a 2-year-old. Wouldn't surprise me to see Hilliard pick up a piece of it, but this is one of the ones in this field I will be circling with some more distance down the line.
The number 6 is Fulco, like Hilliard, out of a Smart Strike mare. This is a Joe Allen homebred by the excellent stallion Warfront. The dam was stakes placed in France on the turf. There's a lot of turf ability in this family. Shug McGahee often brings these horses along slowly. Maybe Fulco will need a start, but I wouldn't be surprised if this one gives a bit of a late run here.
I wouldn't either, and I do like that he has Jose Ortiz aboard on debut for McGahee, who, as you mentioned, likes to give them a start. Warfront, we don't need to tell our viewers much about him, and he and his sons are just taking the Saratoga meet by storm. And Wandering Star, who's back there in the female family, a good turf router, produced the Group 1 winner War Command by Warfront. So this family is, it's a productive family cross.
Interesting price source in this race. Nicole's up next. That's the number 7, Peterman, who made his career debut on dirt in a race that was washed off of the turf. He was meant for the turf that day, and he was blown out by a pretty solid winner. But you look at this pedigree, Pioneer of the Nile, 15% winners with first turfers. The dam was a stakes winner on synthetic, and she's already foaled a couple of nice horses in France. Another one that might want a little bit more distance, but this horse should definitely appreciate moving to the turf.
Yeah, I just keep looking at horses in this race and kind of putting them down in my list of I'm going to watch them going longer later in the meet. And, that said, somebody's going to have to win this race this weekend. And, this one really didn't run badly when third in that muddy dirt debut that was meant for the turf by Pioneer of the Nile, a classic sire, a good turf sire with the likes of Midnight Storm and others out there. The outstanding female family going way back of Blue Hen, Courtly D. This family line is responsible for champions on both the dirt and the turf. So really just an outstanding pedigree behind this one.
Here's the number 8, Thorn, by First Crop sire Speitster, who has gotten off to a very nice start. And this is an interesting cross in the pedigree. You get the speed of Speitster, you get the class, turf, and distance ability of this quality female family. Bill Mott, like Shug McGahee, often likes to give him a race, but another horse that you might want to watch down the road.
Yeah, and a horse with a nice long work tab to put some foundation under him for the debut. I'll again encourage our viewers to to go check out the Clocker reports produced by our colleague Mike Welsh and his team for a little more insight into how some of these horses are training up to their debuts, who their experienced workmates in the barn might be, if you see any familiar names there. Speitster, as you mentioned, a first crop sire who had a lot of speed, and his offspring are showing speed early in these shorter maiden races. But I don't think it's out of the question for Speitster to sire a turf horse, even though he did his work on the dirt, by Speightstown, who is a multi-purpose sire with turf horses the likes of Sharing, Seek Again, Force the Pass to his name.
Cousteau is main track only by Spendthrift Stallion Into Mischief. He would be a major danger if this race was washed off, but we'll move to the number 10, River Tiber. You can understand why this horse was odds on in his career debut on turf at Belmont. Not only is he trained by Wesley Ward, not only did he sell for $500,000 as a yearling, but River Tiber is a full brother to Hit It a Bomb, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, a full brother to Brave Anna, who won the Cheveley Park Stakes as a 2-year-old, and a full to 3 and 4 Pence, who was stakes placed routing on synthetic. This is a tremendous pedigree. I thought this horse was very green in his debut, and he should have benefited from the experience.
Yes, certainly eligible to move forward off that debut. And I mean, you said everything there is to say about the pedigree. A full brother to 2 grade Group 1 winning juveniles to boot by Warfront. I think this one is very well meant for the Coolmore team and Wesley Ward.
Speaking of Wesley Ward, he has Spicy Marge, a filly entered against the boys, entered main track only. That's the number 11, and that one is by Spendthrift Stallion Into Mischief, another one that would certainly do well if this race was reined off of the turf. Let's take a look at our top selections for this race. We kick off the 20-cent Empire 6. You're going with the filly Mad Maddie. She's got speed, she's got the rail, and I'm definitely using her in my multiple race wagers.
Yeah, I think with this race, it's no surprise that we wound up with similar horses, but in a different order. I think this is wide open and has the look of a key race, as some of them get the opportunity to go longer later in the meet. I'll advise everyone, as always, to watch the board and maybe see where you get the value. But I am going to go with the experienced Mad Maddie here. I like her getting on the turf for the first time. I've liked her other efforts, and I think maybe against this group, she can use her speed and get it done. I do think River Tiber is well meant and will give her a fight. And I will say that if either of the main track runners draw in, take a hard look at them. Both by Spendthrift's leading juvenile and general sire Into Mischief. Cousteau is a half to Coaching Club American Oaks winner Paris Lights and has experience at Churchill in a nice maiden race. And Spicy Marg is coming in off a bullet local work for Wesley Ward.
I like the 1, 7, and 10 in here pretty much an equal weight. I think the 7's going to be the best price, however, for Graham Motion, second time out, switching to the turf. So I put that one on top, but I'm going 7, 10, 1, 6. We have the same superfecta, just in different order. Nicole's going 1, 10, 7, 6. It's race number 5 at Saratoga on Sunday. It's our Spa Baby race presented by Spendthrift Farm.